The First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
And that's really where the worst of the weather has been today and will be at least through tonight and tomorrow. Think Savannah, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, and then farther off to the north. We're technically still within the tropical envelope of Debby. Have a gray look, a damp look out there, but did you notice there were even a few glimpses of sun? So although occasionally that dampness means drizzle and light rain blowing in the air, this will not add to our flooding woes, folks. And by the way, for those of you new to the area, although we're talking about some creeks and numerous rivers that are rising and at flood, not the St. Johns River. The St. Johns River primarily will flood first because of a storm surge, which we are not happening because those winds are blowing out of the west. In fact, that's maybe one of the main points I want to make, is that although it might look dismal out there, from southeast Georgia to northeast Florida, the winds are blowing from the land, heading offshore, and that means, if anything, that's going to push ocean levels below normal, and that at least helps our drainage. But nonetheless, if you're going to be out and about, light to occasionally moderate, we'll call it drizzle, blowing in the air, especially over northeast Florida, southeastern Georgia, you're closer to the circulation center. Remember, the circulation center for Debby is right up the coast, basically Savannah, Hilton Head, just offshore from Charleston. As far as the rivers that are at flood, here they are. And I'll tell you what, that's a look at what we saw from Ross. Just wanted to verify what Ross was talking about. Now we're going to come back and take a look at the big picture. And again, we're not alone. So here's the core of Debby. Here we are. But notice the circulation coming in off the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Miami right now, heavy thunderstorms because of Debby. In fact, that main squall line extends all the way up. And if you're wondering where the heaviest rains from Debby are right now, technically, it's in this outer squall line that goes from Myrtle Beach to Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way up to Norfolk. In fact, if you have travel plans up I-95 from Savannah through the Carolinas and then eventually by Thursday and Friday to Philly and New York City. So keep that in mind. On its western extent, Columbia, South Carolina, Charlotte, Blacksburg, maybe on up to the Susquehanna River Valley. Let's come back home and talk about the winds. So again, the wind's not as strong, but still gusty because there's the circulation center. It's really not that far away from us. It's only 80 miles away. But we're on the weaker, drier side. Nonetheless, occasionally we're seeing some winds. Well, let's check it out. So here's the wind flow. Again, I wanted to point out from the land to offshore. So that means no storm surge, even for you folks that are over southeastern Georgia that were under a storm surge warning. What about the wind speed? These are sustained winds, 18 to 20. That's actually pretty solid winds. Notice the gust 31, although occasionally this afternoon we have seen a few spots, especially on the higher bridges, with gusts to 40. Not dangerous, just letting you know they're out there. And because the ground is so saturated, those winds occasionally might be high enough to bring down an old tree in some of that saturated soil, even though we're no longer under a tropical storm warning. So if you're going to be out and about this evening, better than last night, but still some drips blowing around out there. 78 degrees, at least our ACs are getting a bit of a break. So here's a look. This is a futurecast forecast and not much motion. I mean, this is almost stalled, but eventually it's going to go along the Carolina coastline, South Carolina coastline, and then it's going to head to the north. And as it does that, notice the drier side continues to come in and the clouds will continue to decrease. It's not going to be dramatic clearing, but tomorrow will be brighter than today, and Thursday will be even sunnier. In fact, for those of you that missed the summer heat, hold on. It's coming back, that heat that you love. Look at this, 90 on Thursday, and we're going to have middle 90s by the weekend.
Thank you, Tim.